Jocelyn's friend brought a new horse over to our house to kind of hang out and get acclimated before he goes to his permanent home. So if you see just a mad black dude running around back in the background, I don't think I can say that out loud, mad black dude. So I literally had to take notes because of the topics that Troy and I kind of moved through in the second conversation. It wasn't really much of an interview. In the second part, I mean, I tried to drive the conversation a little bit, but we start out with archery, we get into faith and maybe losing faith a little bit, legacy, adultery, philosophy, beer league baseball, and then random stories about life. This part of the interview for me was my favorite because I got to know Troy more and what kind of makes him tick as a person. Thank you guys very much for watching part 2 of the interview with Troy Fowler, the Ranch Fairy. Let's stay on archery for like maybe 5 more minutes. I have some questions for you. The first one is a personal question and you're not going to like it.
Okay, good.
All right. If you had to choose an arrow out of the following categories, which would you choose? And you will not like any of the choices, I don't think. 350 grain arrow with the titanium iron will hit system on the front end and 100 grain iron will broadhead. So it's a fixed head, 350 grain. Or a 600 grain arrow, straight carbon with a Sever Robusto, which is, I would say, arguably the toughest mechanical that's made, maybe besides that Valkyrie. It's a tough mechanical head.
Okay.
So I'll keep it clean. Out of those
5
2.
or 2?
Huh?
You said you were going to give me 5
No, I'm
arrows?
going to give you 2. I'm just going to give you 2. Out of those 2, which would you take? 350 grain.
I would take the mass.
You take the mass
If I was
with
stuck
the mechanical?
If I was stuck on Earth and those were my 2 choices, I would take the mass.
Really?
Yeah. I'd cut the blades off. I've done it.
You can't cheat it. You got to shoot it the way I give it to you.
No, you didn't say that. So Big Mike Tanaka
I'd cut them off and I'd weld them onto the sides.
You just shorten them up about this long, and I'd make it efficient. But nobody wants an efficient mechanical, right? Big Mike Tanaka makes the Big Mike plus P, and he shortens them and sharpens them.
And is that something you would shoot? Like,
if I had 2 arrows, that's what I would shoot the higher mass projectile.
Interesting. Okay. I thought for sure that you would go with the 350 with the.
No, not after what I've seen.
Yeah. Okay.
The mass, especially for you long range guys, speed erosion for a 350 grain arrow over 60 yards is about 30 feet per second. Speed erosion on the 650 grains is about 9. Don't worry, I have spreadsheets and graphs. Did it.
So what if the difference, like let's say somebody's shooting 260 feet per second versus somebody shooting 320. So 260 drops down to, let's say, 250.
With a real heavy arrow.
For even math. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a heavy ass arrow. Mm-hmm. And then the guy shooting 330 is dropping down to 300. 300,
yeah.
Okay.
And so 330 is a really tough number to get to.
Oh, it's super hard.
You're long armed, but
yeah,
it's as hard to get to.
Well, IBO is basically like 330
IBO is
tends
cheating,
to be
and
IBO.
It's in space, and they shoot a 400-inch arrow, and nobody can do that. So my Pamela shoots 291. That's the fastest I can get her to go and tune. And she eroded 23 feet per second over 60 yards with a 398 grain arrow the other day shooting lab radar.
Yeah.
And 598 eroded about 15, and then it just got better. We shot a 1,033 grain arrow. And the way the lab radar goes is there's 5 increments out to your max distance. So if you're going to shoot 60, you back up to 70 so you can catch the flight.
Oh, okay.
You can't have it hit the target because
right.
that'll screw up that data.
Right.
So you back up to 70, you just bomb. And 1,035 grain, I had to shoot it twice because it fell out of the cone. I mean, I was had a 600 grain field point on it, right?
Yeah.
200 spine arrow. And the readings were, usually the launch is 290, then it goes 287, and then it starts eroding. It went, launch was like 178, and it went 0, 0, 1, 3.
Just carrying.
Kept going. It was a spear.
Yeah, that's insane.
So it's really fascinating for the long range guys that you still have all that mass.
Yeah.
It would be a hard arrow. It's just not tuned.
Oh, sure.
But I was just launching it.
Yeah.
The Rocket Man doesn't care if it's tuned. He's like, just launch it.
Yeah.
I don't care. Launch the projectile. What?
Yeah.
It's an arrow.
The biggest argument that I get against the heavy arrow stuff, which I've gotten from numerous people, but generally it's from guys that have been doing this for, it seems like they've been doing it for a while. People who seem like they're brand new seem kind of like they're trying to figure out what they're doing. Like they're willing to try new things.
Yeah.
And so when they hear somebody like you saying math, science, they go, this makes sense to me. But like my buddy Kirk, who's killed way more stuff than you and I put together, and he's always done it with a light, fast arrow with a mechanical for the last, 15, 20 years. Mm-hmm. He is like, no. He's like, this is wrong. It's incorrect. Is it just anecdotal? Is it the fact that it's working for him? I'm trying to think about how to phrase this. Like what we're talking about, you and me, is how to reach like level 10 on penetration.
I want my arrow system to never fail. I want to gut shoot them and say, okay, that's me. I want my arrow system to never fail, ever fail.
And you think he's risking failure?
I think there are shooters who can always get it done. I think there are professional basketball players.
You think?
I think there are people who can play 9-ball and run the table every time.
Okay. So you think that there's just there
are people who are mentally just solid.
Right.
And the mechanical broadheads work when they're put in the right place.
Yep.
I can't say they don't. They do.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to fix the rest of us who are freaking out and have, some blood pressure. There are people who are exceptional shots. I understand Aaron Snyder's supposed to be an incredibly under heat.
Right.
He's the man.
Yep.
I'm not that good. That's why I don't shoot 60 or 80 yards. I know I'm not effective out there, and I would lose my crap.
We saw what I did tonight. Limits. 30 yards, axis deer, and I go that, bouncing my...
So I think there are people, maybe your buddy's one of them, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I would love to hear if he would admit he's ever lost one, and I would love to hear what happened.
Yeah.
That's the conversation I can't. It's like talking politics. People won't say,
of course.
I kill the hell out of them.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a study the QDMA published called Mechanical versus Fixed Doesn't Really Matter or something. You can find it on the internet. And this is a very controlled study on a military base in Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
1,000 shots or something.
Yeah.
They did a really good job of collecting the data. Okay? And it came out. Now remember, they have dogs and they have teams of people who know every inch of that place. You can't. They drop you in the stand. You can't roam around. You shoot your deer and you sit there and wait. You cannot walk around. It's really controlled, and they have dogs. And mechanical broadheads came out to be the magic bullet with dogs. Okay, great, right? But I've been trying to get a hold of that guy. So if you see this, will you call Troy at ranchberry.com? Just reach out to me. I want to know what the loss is. I don't care about the wins.
Right.
Wins don't really teach us that much. Can we take it from 87%, 85 to 95? And I think we can. I think that in my own personal experience, no penetration has been my biggest. I've not gut shot a lot of stuff.
Okay.
I've not flinged one off to the side.
Right.
Everybody makes most often what happens is they're quartering away, and I've shot them in the butt and stuff. They just keep quartering, like they're moving, and I'm losing it. Boom, and I hit them kind of weird or high. I've had a lot of high shots.
Yeah. Highs.
And I want to know what the losses were. I don't care about the wins. I don't. I want to fix the losses, and my arrow system cannot fail, and I'm there. My arrows don't fail. They don't dull. They don't break. They don't bend. And I rock stuff. And it sounds arrogant. My buddy Chris Grego, I'll have this video up in a couple of weeks. He shot a pig the other day. We had a bunch of pigs in front of us, and this one pig got real close. And I was behind him with the camera in my saddle, filming behind him like this, and he was going, that one. And this one came out, and he just goes, oh yeah. And it was real steep. And she rolls, and her spine exploded. It didn't break her spine. There's an autopsy. Necropsy is what it officially is. She goes down right in front of us. But the arrow doesn't make any sound. Her spine shattered, and it went to the fletchings because there was dirt. I mean, she was this tall. It was a little pig. So they hit the dirt, or it would have gone.
Right.
If it was on the ground, it would have gone forever.
Yeah. And through a whitetail, that's going to be arrow in the dirt on the far side.
Absolutely.
Like there's no question.
But in my 5-7 years ago, that was 50-50. I know it.
Yeah.
I had a lot of trouble.
Yeah. No, that's what.
And then, I went to Africa with 400 grains and whacked the hell out of stuff. Shot a kudu with Magnus. I was shooting Magnus stingers. I went to cut on contact at that time. Kind of half tuned them, shot them through some paper. Oh, that's about to be good. I'm going to Namibia. It'll be fine.
400 grains on a kudu?
I was shooting ICS 300s and stock inserts and Stinger 125s.
See, that's what I wonder about. I wonder if what we're arguing about is there is a threshold that you can get to with an arrow where you're like, this works most of the time. Like,
Right.
85% of the time. I know, and that's what I'm saying. You're not saying, I don't care if it works 85% of the time. I want this thing to work 100% of the time from a stability standpoint and from a penetration standpoint. I do not want the broadhead to break, I do not want it to fail, and I do not want the arrow to break or fail. I want it to pass completely through the animal.
If I make a bad shot, it is what it is.
Yeah, and I can do that.
That's always going to happen. The lion doesn't always win, and the croc doesn't always get the critter when they're jumping at them.
Yeah.
That's part of the game.
Yeah.
But when you get to the point that you are shooting and then your arrow system dumps. I mean, there's plenty of videos on YouTube of mechanicals doing crazy stuff, blades shooting off.
Yeah.
People saying, "Oh my God, this stand's haunted" and all this stuff, and it's just.
That was the problem tonight. I didn't even think about that. Our stand was haunted. It was the clicky rest ghost.
What the Head Springs Ranch baby.
Yeah. Oh man. No, I mean this makes sense. And you're going to bang this drum literally for the rest of your life because you don't have a choice because of the stand that you have taken. It is such a firm stand. You don't have a choice. Like you're going to have to.
I know, but I get feral hogs in front of me 1/4 and I just say, "This is over."
And you say, "I'm doing it."
This is over.
Yeah.
It's over.
I mean, and that's it.
Right there. Bones. I don't care. The heart. I know where the heart's at.
Yep.
We're going.
Yeah. Boop.
And just lower
Dead pig.
it.
So let's peel back briefly into kind of what we had talked about a little bit at the start. Like, I'm interested in faith. I went through college, super religious. I'm gonna get real vulnerable and real honest for like a few minutes. Really religious, and it turned me into kind of a judgmental person.
Yeah, sure.
Like I would, friends would come to me and they'd be like, "Jan's pregnant." I had no friends named Jan. I was trying to think. Yeah, Jan's pregnant. And I'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'll pray for you." Jan's pregnant!
Yeah, right.
Like I just became that guy. And so for me, I was like, oh, religion kind of made me an asshole. Mm-hmm. So I kind of...
Everybody goes through that.
I kind of backed up. Yeah. But I feel like I've been going through it for a long time. And I don't know, maybe I just need to say... I need to just kind of commit and get back into it. I don't know. Tell me about your faith a little bit more. It seems to be something that has guided you, and you're a well-rounded guy, and it's obviously something that has kind of added greatly to your life. So tell me more about it.
So the Bible's just cover to cover. It's all right there. Christian, Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world, all that, right? I'm as solid as anybody you know. I figure if God found me, saved me, He's got it. And I just try to be the best person I can be for everyone and kind of display my beliefs that I should be pouring into the world. And when I'm dead, the world benefited for the people I touched. That's how I live every day. I say some crazy crap on my channel and all that stuff, but at the heart of what I'm doing, I want the channel's very small. I have 38 nieces and nephews. I have a humongous family. I have extended children. I have one of my sister-in-laws and I have been friends since 5th grade. That's how I met my wife and her sister. And her husband, they got divorced, and those boys are mine now. I mean, Sully just said, "I want you to help with the boys."
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, I'll do that." So I consider those my extra children, and then there's a bunch of them. I coached baseball for 10 years with my son, and they called me Uncle Troy. Yeah. I said, "Hey, it's easier, right? Don't call me coach."
Don't call me coach.
I already have 38 nieces and nephews. And when there's kids running around, I don't care what stripe you are, fat, black, orange, purple, crazy hair, I don't judge you.
Yeah.
Don't be a butthole. Call me Uncle Troy. And it was funny to hear, "Hey, Uncle Troy." "Hey, man, get your butt down, right? You got to stay down on the ball, man. Can't be hopping up."
Interesting. Man, I love it. I think that legacy is such an interesting thing that I'm so fascinated with right now because I don't have kids. So like thinking about legacy and what I'm going to leave to the world, and even this place that we're on right now, it was owned by a grandma and grandpa.
Yep.
They bought, however many acres way back in the day, and it was worth $0. Like where we are in Texas, they literally said it was like goat farming was what you could do out here. Nothing. And then it changed hands, and they turned it like they had it for, their entire lives. They passed it to their kids. Their kids sold it off. And then whoever they sold it to turned this place into a hunting ranch. And then the grandson of the original owners came back to this place and was like, man, I want this back in my family. Mm-hmm. Like I want this to be a thing that I create for my family, like a legacy to continue. Yeah. And he bought it back, and he's turned it into something that's like, it's pretty damn amazing.
This place is nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Head Springs Ranch, y'all need to look that up, you dudes. If you want to come to Texas, especially from out of state, they do a great job.
Yeah, yeah.
And the stands have been solid, the wind's been right, everything's been right.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't ask us to say any of this stuff. It's just and it's a high fence place. They've got a lot of, but that's another thing. Like we were sitting in a stand tonight and we saw a wildebeest come into the stand. Like you were talking about, crocodiles not getting, like, I was like, they eat wildebeest, like the giant African crocodiles. And we saw a family of elands walk in, like an entire family of some of the biggest mammals that exist on the planet.
That bull was big.
Dude, monster.
They're big. And buffaloes are big too.
Yeah.
When you drive up 20 feet from a buffalo on a scooter, you say, wow, it's bigger than the scooter.
Yeah, yeah. Man.
Buggy or whatever they call it.
Yeah. What he means is like a raven, like a Can-Am, whatever those things. Raven, maybe raven's the right thing.
But yeah, legacy is a big thing. It's very important to me to leave something behind. You're only going to live a certain amount of years, and if you're sucking down from the world all the time, you're just a freaking tick.
But I think it also keeps you focused on something that that's farther down the road.
Correct.
In the right direction. And I think that that's something that a lot of people really struggle with is consistently making good decisions, little decisions day after day after day after day, pointed toward this way. I have employees that it blew my mind, guys that I was like, why did you pawn all the tools that we bought for you? Like, do you understand that little $100 that you got for this took away your ability to make a livelihood for yourself? I was like, the teach a man to fish thing, you sold your fishing pole. You had the pole and you sold it. So those, I don't know, that's another thing that I think separates great men from men that are not so great, is literally an accumulation of tiny good decisions.
It's like my truck's 16 years old. I work on it all the time. I do all the work myself. And it's good mental. When I'm doing those contracts I talked about earlier, it's a great time to, I'll be sitting there, have the whole suspension torn apart and go, oh, wait a second.
I remembered something from the paperwork.
Take my gloves off and go inside and go, and I'll start typing, and I go to the ranch for the same reason.
Yeah.
I'll be messing with fences and farting around and go, wow. And just, that's how my mind works. There's always something going in the background. But yeah, having some kind of a perspective that's bigger than you. I drive a 16-year-old truck because my kid was getting out of college with no debt. And I said, okay, I don't have to be that. I'm not that cool. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
But that's a big deal, and that's a sacrifice.
I could have gotten 5 car payments for all my kids and had brand new Maseratis or whatever. I can afford it. It's just a bad decision because, like you said about pawning your tools, all that debt's gonna freaking kill you one of these days. And I have a great relationship. I've been married 30 years. Next year, we're gonna go somewhere for a month. I said, honey, we're gonna find a place to go 30 days.
Yeah.
On our 30th year of being married, I'm gonna have an internet job, so I could be anywhere. I could be in the Keys.
Yeah.
But she's awesome, and she puts up with all my running around and shenanigans.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, for all you jokers that have decided that hunting is a chance for you to get out of the house and go get drunk and go to town, that's a bad decision, and you're lying, and I never do that. I want to be hunting. I would rather be here than be in Brady ass-hatting around in some bar.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. And
I know there is.
That doesn't leave a good legacy. in your family. Your fishing pole goes out the window.
Man, and that's another thing that's so fascinating to me. I've got a buddy right now who he cheated on his wife, and they're going through the worst divorce you can possibly imagine, all because of such a short-term, stupid decision. And it is such a small, easy thing to do, to just go like, I just went and cheated on my wife, and the destruction that has been left in the wake.
Especially if you have kids and stuff.
He does. He has kids. And they're like the perfect age to get totally screwed up for the rest of their lives because their dad made 2 weeks worth of a freaking terrible decision. It blows my mind.
Everything's like that. I mean, if you don't sit there and think about what you're doing, and I don't know, I read a ton.
Yeah.
I've read 38 books since COVID started. When COVID started, I turned the television off.
See, that's the other thing I was wondering.
I killed all my feeds.
Okay.
And started reading again.
Yeah. You're actually reading paper.
Yeah, paper books or electronic, whatever.
Yeah. But
and everything from Reacher to that. I don't listen to podcasts.
Okay.
But I need to probably do more of that. I just don't. I read all the Federalist Papers. You know, I read some pretty high level stuff for some idiot on YouTube with a SpongeBob. And it's all I'm very curious and I want to learn everything. And when you read the Federalist Papers and you actually read the Constitution past the first 3 sentences, the Constitution is a death warrant.
Oh, that's
a very ballsy thing to send back to the King of England and tell him
Okay.
He's a liar and a cheater and a thief and he's overtaxing us and you need to go to hell. Come get us. That's what the Constitution says. If you keep reading.
Yeah.
And there's a couple scratch outs in there because they didn't have printing press to do that properly.
Yeah.
So
the Bill of Rights is literally one of the most beautiful things I've ever read.
Fantastic. I've seen it in person, right? And so I'm just very curious about everything. So I'll go on a tangent. I went through a philosophy tangent, Nietzsche and Descartes.
God, I tried Nietzsche on the way here. I got through an hour and I was
hard.
like, man, I can't do it while I'm driving, bro. It's too heavy.
Yeah, Plato and Socrates are very hard to listen to because it sounds like they never get anywhere. They just keep asking questions. Aristotle's annoying. All right, I just want you to, could you land the damn plane? Is there any plane landing going to happen here? Well, perhaps we should discuss the outer segment of this.
All right, we have gone from... We have talked about faith, we have talked about legacy, and now we're getting into philosophy. We've talked about eras, we've talked about the whole gamut. Thank you again for coming, and thank you for being willing to sit down to an interview that you did not know what I was going to ask, and I definitely brought some kind of weird questions.
No, it's fantastic. This is the kind of stuff people want to see, and it's good to see. It's good for us to talk about these kind of topics. It all goes back to the hunting thing and the fishing thing, which kept me out of a ton of trouble, and it is a legacy. You find somebody who doesn't even know which end of a knife is sharp and teach them something, right? Something. Yeah. I'll give you a great example. My kids have been cleaning animals since they were 6 or 7 years old. Now, when they're 6, you just kind of hold their hand and all that stuff.
Sure.
Well, my son we shot a mule deer and a bull elk 2 years ago, and my boys are with me. And at the time, they're 17 and 19. I have grown men in that situation. I don't have to tell them. It's just a bigger dadgum deer.
Yeah.
I didn't have to give them much guidance. We had to learn how to do it on the ground. And my buddy Chris taught us how to keep it from getting dirty because everything we do is hanging up. But other than that, taking the hams off and cutting the knees off and doing all the basic stuff, I had 4 grown men there.
Yeah.
And it's just because I was damned and determined that my kids were going to be able to handle themselves. So looking back, I was fortunate, and Ed's the newest one in my life. To be around really good wing shots, top level. I don't know. It's my Uncle Ronnie. He's always been Uncle Ronnie.
Yeah.
And my Captain Billy Sandifer, who was my mentor for shark fishing, he died on us 5 or 6 years ago, but he took me under he just liked me. And he took me under his wing and taught me all the BS that goes. It's just that ecosystem is tough and it's constantly moving and you have to pay attention. And he guided me along and he was the man. He wasn't tier 2.
Yeah.
It was him and then everybody else. And I've had 5 or 6 people like that in my life in work, in different situations. And that's probably one of the things I look back on and I go, those people poured into me and I have a lot of energy now. You should have seen me at 25.
I can't imagine.
Freaking crazy, right? Sleeping's not an option. Just go. And they took the time to put up with me and teach me stuff. So I'm going to pour that back out.
Yeah, I mean,
all the stuff they taught
Uncle
me.
Troy, Coach Troy, like you've already been doing it. You're giving back to other people.
That's really important to me. It's humongous.
But I'm sure it makes your life richer too. Yeah. Like that's not a thing where you get up. I doubt there was a day where you were like, I literally am going to quit. Maybe you did, but you probably at the end of every season were like, man, I'm going to miss those kids if they don't come back.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I loved coaching.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
You love telling people what to do.
Yeah, of course. Coach Kent Murphy, man.
Yeah, I get it.
It's one of the best.
Yeah.
I used to coach third, and generally at third, you're half the time the other coach, the opposing coach is sitting right here.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite times on third. So there's this guy named Coach Kent Murphy. He's got a comedy channel, and he cusses and stuff, and does baseball stuff.
Yeah.
And it's totally inappropriate, but all the kids are watching anyway.
Yeah.
There's no stopping them. They're 10.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, he's talking about girls.
Yeah.
It's out. It's a scream.
Yeah.
And he's right about 50% of the time. So in one of his things, he says, third base coach says some of the dumbest crap, you know. Oh, you're the ninth batter. You're the worst kid on the team. You just do whatever you want to, Billy. So I had this kid who could hit the baseball. Generally, as they get older, you let them take a pitch, make them get at least one strike in there. Well, this kid, Luke Wilkins, who I loved, and still is a great kid, he could hit the baseball from here to there. You just let Luke hit. When it was a favorable count, you make him take. But you don't make him take the first pitch.
Okay.
You just learn your batters. So he steps out. We're in a tournament. We're in the third round or whatever. Opposing coach is here. Opposing stands are here. He steps out. It's an open frame. There's nothing else to do. Hit the damn baseball, right? Steps out of the box, looks at me. I said, "You're the worst kid on the team." Wilkins, you do whatever you want to do. I don't care what you do, Wilkins. And they've all been, and I hear the kids laugh on my dugout.
Because they've been watching.
And the parents over here are like, "Oh, that guy's an ass." Right? And Wilkins smokes one out in the gap. He's on second.
Right.
Just some pitch that was kind of a little wonky.
Yeah.
He just still likes it out there.
Yep.
You're the worst kid on the team. And I enjoyed that part of it. I'm actually a pretty hard coach, and I expect the kids to do their job, but in situations like that, it was just
And then you
perfect.
looked over at their dugout and you just kind of smiled.
Yeah, I had a guy we had a team from down down South Texas, and a lot of times the coaches speak Spanish. So he's sitting on a bucket. My son was pretty small. He's the left-handed leadoff batter. So Thomas steps up in the box, and I just give him the hit the baseball sign.
Yeah.
It's open frame. And the guy says something, and the outfielders come in. And I said, "Hey, Blue, just a sec. Step out of the box, son." I said, "I don't know what the hell he said, but the outfielders came in, so hit the ball over the right fielder's head so you can get to third because it's a much longer I said it that loud. And Thomas is just like... And then, bloop, the guy said something, and they backed out, right?
This kid is pequeño.
I can't hit the ball. It was awesome. I had so much fun doing that. It was just good times.
My only moment of softball greatness as an adult, like I was on like one of the beer leagues, or so I thought it was a beer league, but all my friends were like, "You gotta practice."
Yeah,
like there
right.
was that type of thing. I wore a clown outfit for our Halloween game, like a full clown outfit with the face and the whole deal. And I would always just kind of try to dink it over the left side, like just kind of drop it in the gap. And so they kept bringing the people in, and we were right at the end, and they brought everybody in, and the pitcher looked at me like, "I know exactly what you're gonna do." And I looked at my dugout and I went like this, and I swung as hard as I could swing the bat, and it was the perfect connection, and the ball flew over the left side fence, and it was like a freaking movie. Dude, I literally ran around the bases with my arms up in this ridiculous clown outfit. That was the best part, was I was in the clown outfit.
That's awesome.
It was great.
That's a great experience.
Yeah, it's one of those that lives right here.
Yeah, that's right. They keep pulling in the outfield. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Beer league baseball is pretty funny.
It is fun.
It's a little bit too serious.
My wife literally, she played the first season and she was like, "I'm never doing that again. I'm never doing that again."
We played a beer league when I was probably in my mid-20s with the dads.
Yeah.
So the dads had a league. They asked us.
Yeah,
to
but
play
you
them.
guys probably took it real serious because
They
you're
were
the
pretty
dads
serious.
of all the. Yeah.
And then my buddy's uncle Mike, 6'9", he'd rather fight than eat. Trucker, redneck kind of guy, right?
6'9"?
Yeah.
And he's a. Yeah.
And so he is slower than Chris. He can't run. He can't run out. I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, he hits one kind of the outfield, and we're playing a team, and they're serious. They're turning double plays and stuff on us. We're not that serious. Mike's motoring, goes around first. We're like, you're never going to make it. The second baseman's there, and he just belly slides and just crushes this guy's about 5'8". He just bounces off of him, right? And they start getting in his face talking trash. He's like, I'll meet all you guys afterwards. You bring it on.
Yeah. I don't want to forfeit the game, but I'll kick your ass after.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sure enough, he's talking trash. He's screaming across those guys. After the game, it was one of the best lines I've ever heard in my life. So we're like, dude, we're going to get in a fight. He goes, oh, yeah, it's going to be great. So 5 guys get around him. And they're in one of them over 5'8". And they're pissed. They don't have bats or anything. They're just going to beat the hell out of Big Mike. And they said, and they're yelling at him and stuff. And he says, here's the deal. And he kind of picked out the ringleader of the thing. And he said, I don't know what's going to happen to all the rest of you guys, but I'm going to be swinging you by your feet. And they just went. And it chilled. It was the greatest line I've ever heard in my life. I'm going to be swinging you by your feet. The guy's coming up to here on him, and he's pointing down at his forehead. I was like, oh, my God. Oh.
See, your buddy Mike, he wasn't actually a fighter. He used that line plenty of times before.
I'm going to be swinging you by your feet.
I'm going to be swinging you by your feet. A smart
awesome.
man. He didn't have to fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's funny. I like it. All right, Troy. Thank you for the time, and again, thank you for sitting down with me. Anything else?
Thanks for having me out.
Yeah,
it's been fun. And
yeah,
tomorrow
man.
we're going after them. It
Heck
started
yeah.
raining tonight. We're supposed to go pig hunting, but it's been pouring rain and hailing and
Yeah.
raining in the house.
I mean, you saw at the beginning of the video, like literally, it was hailing on the way here. So I don't know.
So tomorrow we axes and fallow and see what we can get away with.
I hope so. God, I'm still kicking myself.
There's
We're going to
40.
talk about that in the future with a thing that I did that was wrong.
And he was wearing Crocs.
Yeah, but it wasn't the Croc's fault. I didn't have the Croc nuts on the back. That
You
was
gotta
the
have Croc
problem.
nuts.
I didn't have the Croc nuts.
Wearing
I think what I want to do is nut on the left and spur on the right.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Croc nuts or Croc spurs yet, just Google them and then buy them for your loved ones.
Yes, I think that's a great idea. You have great archery friends. And we get in the stand and he says, well, I got my Crocs on, so something good. Well, you know what? They were good luck.
No, they were good luck.
Kind of sucked today, except for that one. We had that one coming down that was running across the pasture.
No, see, but if I would have had my Crocs on, he would have kept coming.
Yeah.
I might not have got a shot, but tomorrow is another day, a new day. Got to be an
Practice
optimist.
a fallow deer or shoot that buffalo. There's a lot of options out here.
There's a lot of options.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on, brother.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for watching. I'm Brandon McDonald.